the fighter's voice.
It's Robert Garcia versus Hector Camacho Jr.
Every fighter has a voice, and so do you.
See it now in lights.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're live here on the Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast. I like the term knockout. Don't you like that, Eric? Knockout?
That's the way to do it.
Speaking of knockout, man, we're going to be giving you those, the viewers, the fans. We're going to be updating you. Fox 1 is running right now, and that's a plug for them too as well. We got Stockton's own Jalisco Madera, who is stepping up. He's the B-side going into this fight, but you know, be careful what you ask for. He asked for the opportunity, Eric, and now he's getting it tonight. And how do you think he's going to do, man? First of all, he's granted that fight. How do you think he's going to do tonight?
I'm going to say this. The preparation for this fight was like no other. So I think what he's about to show is going to be way different from what we've seen in the past. And I think we're all going to be in it for a really good show.
I agree with you, man. But you know what? I want to ask the expert, man. And no offense, Mr. Dog Boxer, but ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, he's not a one-time. He's a Showtime two-time former welterweight champion of the world, soon to be three-time and collect all the belts. But I'm going to let him tell you exactly what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight, Mr. Showtime Shawn Porter. Welcome to the Fighter's Voice, Shawn.
when I have guests on my show, I'm always like, "Where's that button that's gonna give them the applause?"
The applause. There you go. There you go.
What's up, fellas?
Hey,
What's
man, we're doing good, man. You know what? You're moving around, but you know what? I think it's because you made that big move, man. Why don't you tell us all about that big move that you've been making?
What's
physically?
The big move?
Oh, from locations.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah. So I went home this weekend. My first time being home in like 2 years, I think. Maybe even longer than that. Home is Cleveland. Even though I live in Las Vegas, I'll always refer to Cleveland, Northeast Ohio as home, unless I'm there, and then I'm saying I'm going home, which is Vegas. But anyway, the long story short, I actually had a family member that turned 100 on Saturday, on the day. And we went home. My dad and I went home for the celebration with the family. And it was beautiful. As described on my podcast, the Porterweight podcast, which actually posted today. My great, possibly even 3 times great. I'm not sure. We had an argument about that today. I don't know how many greats she is to me, but she's 100 years old. She can feed herself. She can carry a conversation. She
Awesome.
remembers her life, her stories, which is amazing. And I was really grateful that I was able to see that. And I've actually transitioned from being happy that I was able to see a family member reach 100 to give me faith that I could get there, into being just happy and grateful to be around her over the weekend. And then we have NBC, Ring City, USA is right back at it Thursday night. And I actually have to turn down commentating FS1 to do NBC this week. So I know that there's some fights going on right now, and I'm actually on my Direct TV trying to pull them up. So
there you go. You talked about you hope you can live 100. Well, we know one thing that is going to live, and that's going to be your legacy.
Yeah,
and we're going to be talking about that later on in the show. But I want to talk about who's going to join you Thursday on the show.
Yeah,
Mr. Simplify.
Yeah, and so here's the thing: they have a lot of boxing going on Thursday night, and so they said, hey, instead of running our commentators down, let's try to split up the work. And so they're bringing in Jamel Herring to commentate the cadet fights.
Awesome.
Which is, yes, I mean, first of all, it's awesome that we're here at West Point. I don't know if I would have ever gotten a chance to come here if it weren't for NBC. So, and then again, beyond that, we got to really give some big ups to NBC and Ring City. They don't want to do the same venue. They don't want to do boxing on television the way that everybody else does it. And I think
Right.
that they said if we're able to travel, we're able to get around the country and possibly even the world to broadcast boxing, let's do it. And that's what they've done. 3 fights this year. We're in Puerto Rico, and now we're at West Point. They have the main event, Jelena Marjanovic against Erica Cruz on Thursday night. So I mean, I'm here and I'm really on historic territory. You know, this is where a part of the war went against England, was right here on these grounds, you know. So to be here is pretty awesome. And then for them to bring in Jamel is even better. And they weren't going to let me work with them. And I talked to them today. I said, hey, you know, can I do a fight or two with them? And they said they'll work it out. So I'm looking forward to being able to sit next to him and talk some boxing.
And then you got Mr. Kern Bhatia, correct?
Yeah, we got Kern's here, and also BC. Brian, wow, he'd hate me if I forgot his name. What is BC's last name? Because I get him mixed up with the BC at
With the Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Brian Custer. That's
Yeah,
at
that's
Showtime.
right. Yeah, and so whenever I say BC's name, that's the name that comes into mind. I gotta pull his name up because I don't like disrespecting people, and I don't want people to feel
Oh
forgotten.
man, sometimes
Campbell.
you know. Yeah, there you go. As ring announcer, I never want to chop anybody's name up.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm
Right.
asking them in the back, I just basically ask them, "Hey, what does your mama call you? How does your mama say it?" And that's what they want. Exactly.
Say it. I want to say it like your mama said. Exactly. Yeah. We got Brian Campbell and also Bob Papa. So I think
There you go.
the four of us, we are the main crew, and we enjoy it, and we enjoy working together, which is awesome too.
That's always a good thing. Eric, I mean, he's going to get the scoop. I mean, Jamal Herring coming off that sensational knockout with just added and simplified his career. I'm going to go ahead and throw that name in there as well as the
go.
Marines. But and just, you know, moments months before, I mean, he had it was postponed over and over again. And a lot of people thought he was on his way out. Now he kind of, like the Godfather, holds all the strings right now in that division.
Well, here's the thing. He said this on my podcast 2 weeks ago. He says, I was never on my way out. He said, when I was talking
The
about
media,
retiring,
wanted to push him out.
oh yeah, no,
Yes,
you are
yes,
right. You are
yes.
right. The media was like,
Yes.
you know, we haven't seen a good Jamel Herring. Why are we looking for or waiting on a good Jamel Herring? And I mean, come on. I asked him, I said, yo, what's going on over there with Terrence Crawford and those guys? Because you look fantastic the other night. And he says, man, we get the work out there, and he loves working with Terrence Crawford and his crew. So yeah, he kind of rejuvenated everything in one night. And that's the great thing about boxing. You know, you can go from being a nobody to somebody instantly.
Eric, you know about that firsthand, man. I mean, you're around these fighters, different stables, and what's your whole take? Let's talk about Jamal, who's actually going to be our guest next Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of those fighters that you won't catch on an everyday card, that once you see his card, you're like, that's the guy I want to watch. That's the guy I want to see. I've seen his training camps. I've seen the way he does, you know, his normal, you know, day-to-day operations of being a fighter. And he's always looking for the next step, always looking for the next best thing. And, you know, the whole thing where the media was trying to, you know, push him out of the way. Yeah. I think he kind of liked that, because that was just more strive and more for him to say, watch. And look at what he did. I mean, he showed out amazing on his last fight, and, you know, it only got better.
You know, he's kind of like Sean Porter. I mean, you will never find this man out of shape. You know what I mean? I mean, just ripped to shreds. Sean Porter got that linebacker, that running back physique, and then you got Jamal Herring that's just ripped to shreds, man.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say about Jamel. He's the kind of guy that, you know, he, like you said, you think he liked that the networks were trying to push him out, that boxing was trying to say, hey, we're done seeing this guy, get somebody else in here, somebody new and better. And that's kind of where he comes from. He's always been counted out. He's always been the dog, and he's always been revered as somebody who can't do it or won't make it. And I mean, let's say hypothetically, his next fight, he doesn't, you know, show the Jamel that we saw this previous fight. For me, I want to appreciate what he did
Mhm.
against Frampton, against Carl Frampton, because in that night he was special. And again, we talking about boxing. All it takes is one night, one moment of you
Mhm.
being special, of you being able to really hone in on a moment to really capitalize and become a world champion, or be able to defend that championship title and really show everybody I did it, So he's done it. And let's say hypothetically he comes out in the next fight and he can't really produce the way we expect him to, or the way he did against Carl. For me, I'm saying it doesn't matter, because on the outside of the ring, he's an unbelievable dude. On the inside of the ring, I saw him do something unbelievable one time. So I don't think boxers or boxing gets enough credit for what happens in that given night. Everybody's always looking forward to what's next, or everybody's saying, "Oh, well, he beat that guy, but he can't beat that guy and that guy." Give somebody their credit when it's due. Appreciate somebody in the moment, because I think one thing we realize now more than ever after 2020 is that you never know when that time is coming. You won't be able to give
Yeah.
that credit. You won't be able to acknowledge somebody. So I really just want to acknowledge him for what he did against Carl Frampton, because I just thought it was special.
I agree with you. I think it was a beautiful thing knowing his story and what he's
Yeah,
come from and what
yeah,
he's contributed. And,
yeah,
and knowing that, he's been a good sport through it all, even when the press didn't want to
uh-huh,
recognize
yeah,
exactly what he stands for. Because a lot of times people are quick to not what did you do, but what didn't you do? Even
yeah,
even that fight that I thought was a beautiful Picasso that he painted, there's
yeah,
always going to be that skepticism. Hey, what didn't you do? Why
yeah,
didn't you get him out sooner? Or why didn't you do this or that? But he's been, what, you said it best. He's been taking it with stride, and like
yeah.
Eric said, he's been using it as ammo to fuel his career.
Yeah, and I mean, Boo Boo Andre had a fight over the weekend, and
Mm.
I on my podcast I talked about him almost like he lost the fight, but it's because my expectation is so high, and the
Yeah.
things that I'm expecting from he won virtually every round of the fight,
Every round, pretty much.
and I'm still looking at this dude like he made a ton of mistakes, and I want to point out all of those mistakes. And again, just going back to what we were saying about Jamel, at some point you just have to let go of all that and acknowledge, hey, he won the fight, he did a terrific job. And even with this conversation, I'm sure there's, I have to play the devil's advocate. He didn't beat a 2015 2016 Carl Frampton. He beat a 2021 Carl Frampton, who is or really was on his way out, and has since the fight announced his retirement.
Yeah.
And so you got to say, well, how great was this Jamel Herring? Well, in 6 rounds, I think it was, I think he made every right move. I don't
Mhm.
think he made one wrong move, so that speaks a lot to him and any fighter, because it's very hard to be 100% for an entire fight. And I mean, he got very close. If he wasn't 100, he got very close.
My surprise was the game plan, Eric. I mean, he stood
Mhm.
to the body until the very end, and that was the difference maker in the two fighters that were headhunting in the very beginning.
I think him walking into that fight, I don't think a lot of people were prepared for the way he fought. And I think that's why a lot of people were impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say we saw the B side Jamal back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
where he was hungry and he wanted it and got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say we saw in this last fight.
Mm-hmm.
If he could continue doing that, it's a whole different ball game out there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, how many upsets have we had, before COVID hit, and all these lopsided underdogs, coming out and gaining and moving up and doing these things. You had all these B-siders doing that. They're hungry and whatnot. You got guys that got on the A side and got too comfortable. Now we're starting to see all these guys have been slept on these last, year and a half. Everything's been, dying down and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Now all these cats are hungry. Now all these guys have something to prove.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you said it just right. NBC Sports, going around doing their thing and going different places and whatnot. It's going to make a huge difference, because now you're going to start seeing really truly built cards. Let's forget about these podcasters and YouTubers and whatnot. You're going to see true real fighters wanting to fight and getting the fights that they want, and it's going to be it's going to be what's best for the fans.
The amazing thing is that this pandemic that happened last year, 2020, it was a reset button.
Yeah,
And whether we liked it or
definitely.
not, we've all been reset. whether you're a champion and have a belt, you got to come out and show that you are who you were prior to this pandemic. Because prior to the pandemic, we were all working, training, staying focused. We had things that we had goals in mind, all this and that. Pandemic happens, and all of us are saying, when, how?
Mhm.
I don't know. We're gonna start seeing who was sitting down, how long they were sitting down,
Yeah.
and if it had an
Yep.
effect. Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
That to me, many may agree, many may not. I think that year just flew by.
No, it definitely,
I
definitely
mean,
flew by.
it just
I know
from
that a lot of people, because there was a lot of heartache and pain
yeah,
through 2020, and then even for those who were at home safe. I mean, now you're seeing your loved one a little bit more than you're used to,
yeah.
and and all that kind of stuff. You did a lot of adjustments, and so I think with all the adjustments that had to be made last year, I don't think a lot of people would agree with you that last year flew by.
Well, I will say this though, and I'm going to pull up a little soft spot in Sean. My man, Cleveland Browns was one play away
Yeah,
from
buddy.
representing Cleveland Town in the Super Bowl.
Listen, man, I had so many thoughts about that, man. When it was all said and done, I said, and not, I'm just gonna say what I thought. I was like, you know what? It's crazy that if we had made it to the Super Bowl this year, everybody would have been saying that this was because of the pandemic, and
Mm.
that
Yeah,
that the Browns would only do something like that
yeah,
in the year that we had last year. So I've done the best I could to, or can, to just be quiet, and with the hopes, and I do have a high expectation this year, but more so the hopes that we can at least duplicate what we did last year. I said last year, we look like a team that can make it to the playoffs, but we don't look like a team that can make it out of the first round of the
yeah.
playoffs, and we were able to do that. So next year, the goal and the mindset of the Cleveland Browns and of Cleveland, we're all expecting to get to that second round and maybe even get over that hump into the Super Bowl. I don't know if we'll be able to make it to the Super Bowl, but being really, I think, just one play away, I think it was last year,
Yeah.
as we have been in the past. I think that we got some really good things to look forward to this coming year. We haven't slept. We're still signing guys. We're signing guys that
Mhm.
making moves that make sense, which I haven't. I mean, I've been a Browns fan for a long time, and we haven't made moves that made sense. And I think the biggest move that we made that made sense was hiring Kevin Stefanski. For a long time, we hired guys that had no head coaching experience, and I think that he was the closest that we had gotten to an NFL head coach. And he came out, and I mean, I think that I think maybe the last 3 or 4 years, we talked about changing the culture of Cleveland Browns football, and I think it was really solidified when he was hired.
Sometimes that's a difference maker. Hey, in
I think
10
it's the
seconds.
different. Just last thing about Jamel, I think that that's the difference maker for him in this fight with Carl Frampton,
Mm.
was him changing his culture, changing who he's around, and changing
Yes.
his
Yeah.
coaching, and who's in his corner. I think that really was what made the big difference, and should moving forward.
And he asked himself where he truly belongs, because his last outing, people were pointing the finger that he took the easy way out, so to speak, that it wasn't his best performance. And we've had immediately right after the show on that. But one thing he kept, Sean, was his character and his dignity. And he knew deep down who he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he did. He knew deep down who he was. I think there's a lot of people, including myself and other people who have been around him, boxers and coaches who have been
Yeah.
around him for a significant amount of time. I think that we all didn't expect the Jamel that we saw the other night, and I
Mhm.
think that that's probably why the boxing world, more than anything, is pretty proud of him right now, because we saw something we didn't expect to see, and now he's set a bar for himself.
Yeah. We may see him in Valdez. Hey, in 10
Mhm.
seconds, any updates on the Kalisco Madera fight?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. I'm going back and forth with it right now, so
They're
I'll
on
definitely keep
commercial.
you guys updated. Yeah.
Oh, they're on commercial.
Right now.
They're on commercial. Yeah, I'm watching.
Yeah.
I got it on my computer.
Mine keeps going in and out, so I'm like getting updates and text messages from my people at FS1 right now. So
Yeah.
Y'all weren't able to do this during school, but when I was like a junior and a senior in high school. Now we got text messaging, and now we got these
Yeah.
little games that you can play on your phones and things like that. And it was like, what I would do was I would put my book up, just like I got you
Oh,
guys.
there you
Like,
go.
I got you guys on the screen. I would put my book up, and then I'd have a game going right here. Eventually it was text messaging right here, and
There you
all the
go.
while you think you got my undivided attention, but this boxing match right here in front of me has
Oh,
my
oh,
undivided
absolutely.
attention.
I got
Yeah.
some stories to tell about that one, but that's a whole different segment, my man. But
Yeah.
but you know what I do want to ask it, and let me tell and apologize ahead of time, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just sending me questions, I'm going to do my best to get to all of them because they keep coming in right now. But I am going to start with the ones that we do have in front of me, and that's from Mr. Sean Porter. I'm going to address the first one. Yes, absolutely. This is coming from trainer Rashawn Jones. He said, of course, because this is the $1 million question, who is Showtime Shawn Porter fighting next? And what does he think about Charles Conwell?
Charles Conwell, I answer that one first because he's from the land. He's
Yes.
That's a Cleveland boy. He says that I'm boxing's best kept secret. And when he said that, I didn't get the feeling that he was being arrogant or brass. I had to sit back like, man, why are you boxing's best kept secret? And I agree with him. I think that he's got some abilities that not very many people know about. I think that he's got a style that's very hard to beat. And the great part about it was if there are people out there who have not seen Charles Conwell, he's a strong fighter. I believe he's right around 15-0, give or take. I don't
Yeah.
know his record right off the bat. He was an Olympian, 2016 Olympian.
Yeah.
And he's from Cleveland. So I mean, he's got the grit, the fight, he's got skill and talent, speed, power. Fights at 154 now. He fought in the Olympic Games at 165. He should be a bigger force than he has been in the past. And I know that NBC has given him the platform once, and I know that they want him back. He's got a little injury that he's dealing with right now, which is why we didn't see him a few weeks ago. But I think that he should be a force to be reckoned with in the next year. If he's able to capitalize on some things this year, now he's got a injury, but if he's able to get beyond his injury and capitalize on some things this year, going into 2022, he'll be somebody who will be talking about and expecting to get a championship title next year. As for myself, I don't know who, I don't know when, and I don't know where. My dad and I were talking the other day, and it's definitely going to be this summer. And it's not going to be the end of the summer. It's not going to be dead hot heat in Vegas. It ain't gonna be 120 Vegas summer. It's gonna be a little sooner in that 100-degree temperature summer of Vegas. So expect to see me not too soon, but sooner than later.
Eric, is there anything in between that and Vegas? Vegas summer is Vegas summer, my man. I mean, it's scorching,
Man.
right?
Yeah.
Man, there ain't, if there ain't even a slight breeze, you ain't going outside. You ain't leaving the casino,
No,
man.
no.
You staying
No,
indoors as much as you can.
we do probably from like January to now. Is
Now
all we
it's
get
about
to
right
like
now.
be outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause
Now's
before
your
January is-
outdoor time, your pool time
Yeah,
and whatnot.
yeah. Before January is too cold.
Yeah.
And so yeah, right around that February time is when we hit in the parks and all that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, the pool is too cold unless you got a heated pool. But I do jump in the summer. I jump in the pool for my workouts.
There you go.
But yeah, when it's July, August, it's 120 for no reason. You go to,
And
you go to-
then
go to
you got
sleep
those
at-
random days that it just starts raining out of the blue.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
it ain't cool. It ain't cool rain. It hurts. It
Well,
hurts.
shoot, my thing when I moved to Vegas was, why doesn't it get cool at night? Because I'm from Ohio.
Right.
In the summertime, we'll have 90, 95-degree temperature, but at night it goes to 70. So I get it. We're in the desert, but why go from 120 and take me to 95? Don't go from 120 in the day
to
to
107.
101. Yeah, 107 at night, and then I wake up mad. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm,
I know because it's hot. You know.
He said
mhm.
it wakes up, man. I know I get kind of grumpy too. I thought I was the only one in the summertime, man. I'm not a fun person to be around. I try to keep to myself because me and the heat do not get along.
I always got an excuse not to go to fights in Vegas. I always got some sort of excuse.
You guys looking forward to Andy Ruiz and Chris Arreola?
Looking very forward to that.
Actually, we are. Actually, we are. That was one of the questionnaires that we were getting to. So
Oh,
since
nice.
we're on that topic,
Okay,
what's your whole take on not just Andy, who's going to be our guest tomorrow,
nice.
but Chris Ari? I'm not. You know what I mean. I got a message to pass to him too about returning those
Oh
those
yeah,
messages for you.
I was
But
gonna
what
say it
about?
off air. I was gonna whisper to you. You know.
Hey,
Yeah.
it could still happen as we speak. But what about Chris Arreola? I mean, he's really taking this opportunity serious, and he took as if to say, "Hey, I'm no pushover. I'm putting in the work as well."
Yeah, and so I had him on my podcast this week, and what we found out is that he takes it personal. He takes every fight personal, and I don't. So I kind of learned a little bit, a few things from him. Interviewing him the other day, he said, "Man, I take it all personal," and I think that he's taking it personal that this kid Andy Ruiz was able to win a championship title, and of course being Mexican American, I think he's looking at this kid like you're the me that I used to be, and I'm
You
about to
took my
show you
spot.
that you can't beat me. Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
I mean, he's down to 235, which
Wow.
Mhm,
I mean, a 235 Chris Arreola should be a very strong and solid Chris Arreola. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
and for anybody that doesn't know, when you get your weight down, when you've been training correctly and things like that, your body moves different. And you so
The
there's
more
ways that
agile.
you
Yeah.
yeah, you're more agile. You're able to rejuvenate yourself. You know, when we talk about rejuvenating ourselves, it's not a phrase. You know, there's things that we can do. You know, when we like us, you know, when we play old games, when we play Pac-Man or we play Sega Genesis or something like that, we in that moment we rejuvenate ourselves. So fighters, a lot of times we have to get to a specific training regimen, eating specific foods, and
Yeah.
doing specific things that we did when we were 25, 26 years old in order to really rejuvenate ourselves and come in and conquer somebody who's looking at us like, you know, hey, I'm the new guy here. You know, you can't beat me, you know. So I got a good feeling about this fight for Chris. I'm a fan of Chris. I've known him for a long time. And also
Nightmare.
Andy as well. Knowing Andy as long as I've known Andy, I think if both these guys come to the ring 100%, we got a great fight that I think on paper may not be qualified as a pay-per-view fight, but I think with everybody knowing what they're gonna get in this fight with a lot of action, possibly some hard thumps from both guys, I think that that's what makes this a pay-per-view fight.
I think that too in being kicking off Cinco de Mayo early the
Yeah,
month of May, a
yeah,
lot of heritage there as
yeah.
well as September, anyways. And I think it's going to be a good fight. I don't see it going the distance, to be honest with you.
Who
But
wins?
I can. What was that?
Who
Did you
wins?
say
Do
who
you think
wins?
who yeah, who wins? Or do you think it's a thing of who gets who first?
And no, I mean, you're gonna have to tune in
Oh,
tomorrow. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
tune in tomorrow
oh, all right.
to get my take on that.
I'm on. I'm
Yeah,
on.
to get my take on
I'm
that.
on. All right, good
Exactly,
deal.
exactly.
I ain't
Hey,
mad at you.
yeah, don't be. This next question is from Golden Boy Vice President and matchmaker Roberto Diaz. He
Nice.
said, "No questions, just give him and his dad my best."
Nice. Yeah. What's up to you guys over there at Golden Boy? I know that I miss you and I think that I got a good feeling that my dad misses hanging out with you guys as well. We will do it again soon. We'll figure it out.
There you go. Now, this one is coming from somebody that Eric knows very, very close, and this is coming from Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. Robert Garcia.
Nice.
Ask him who is he gonna fight next? That's $1 million question. Because Josito Lopez wants a shot. LOL. Also, let him know I have much respect for both Shawn and his dad.
I was just wondering if Mikey Garcia wanted to fight. So, you
Oh,
know,
look
he threw one of his
at.
fighters at me. He just threw the wrong one at me.
I think
And no
Lopez
disrespect to
would be
Lopez.
in the step up game of that.
And Lopez would, I think I got a feeling Lopez would want that fight. I got a feeling Lopez would not have a problem fighting me at all, you know. So We have. I'm not even gonna front. Like we have mentioned his name, but I think the bigger name between those two guys are Mikey Garcia is Mikey Garcia. So, if he wants to talk about that, I'm game.
You game. There you go.
Yeah.
Now this
Josecito Lopez, I'll refer to my dad.
there you go. That's the safe answer right there.
Oh man.
That's the safe
Shot.
answer right there. Now, this is coming from a friend of ours that we both know, Eric, and Top Rank Boxing's Hall of Fame, Mr. Lee Samuels. What does he think of Crawford, and how does he size Crawford up in a big fight? To you, Mr. Shawn Porter.
I've said this for some time now. I think that he's one of the best fighters in the world. I think there's no secret. It shows it in the ring and also on paper. He's the top 5 fighter in the world to me. I think that a lot of people don't give him the credit that he deserves. Some people think that I give him too much credit, but I don't. I think that the things that you see a guy do at a young age, I think that those things are always going to be there. And so he's been good/great. I mean, he's been great. He's been great for a long time. And so when you say he hasn't fought anybody, I'll say it doesn't matter. When you say he hasn't fought a real 147-pound fighter, I'll say it doesn't matter. I think that there's some better dogs out there in the weight class that he hasn't fought yet, obviously including myself. And of course, I've gone on the record for saying that I would love to fight him. But if he doesn't get in the ring with me, it doesn't matter who he's in the ring with. It's gonna be a tough night for him and whoever it is he's getting in the ring that's in top 3, top 4 in the welterweight division.
Very well said. Now, this is coming back from a gentleman we were just talking about, WBO junior lightweight champion of the world, Mr. Simplify Jamal Herring. What does he want next? Also, what do you think about the new era of talent in the division, your division? Can he potentially, which is you, see yourself moving up to 154 pounds, considering that you fought as high as 165 pounds as an amateur?
Yeah, a lot of people think that it makes sense for me to move up to 154. I actually I think it makes sense, and I've talked to my dad about it. But I think the same reason why we moved down to 147 is the same reason that we're still there, with the understanding that moving down we would have some advantages. We wouldn't be as at a disadvantage. We'd be in the ring with guys that are the same size as myself. You weighing at 154, you come back to the ring fighting at maybe 165, and you got the guys coming to the ring at 170, 175, maybe even higher than that. So we really just moved down to 147 to kind of make the playing field as honest and fair as possible, with also hoping to have some advantages when it comes to moving up. Right now that's where the hot fights are for me. I don't think moving up to 154 that I could get a fight any bigger than I can right now at 147. And it's kind of like putting a bunch of names in the hat, and it's like all of those names in the hat are bigger than one fight at 154. So I don't think we're gonna move up to 154. Definitely no time soon. Sorry, my computer went out for a second. What else was that question about? What?
Moving up,
Yeah.
the same reason why you're still at 147s.
Yeah, but the other part was, what do I think about the young talent in my weight class?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that everybody's speaking about Virgil Ortiz and also Boots Ennis, and both of those guys are forces. You know what I mean? It's weird how, well, no, it's not weird, but it's just crazy how at this point in my life I'm starting to see these guys exactly where I was once upon a time. So I get it, man. It's exciting. I'm excited for those guys based on knowing what I've been able to do and had to do it at the points that they're at. They are both of those guys are very talented. Boots Ennis, I think, is remarkably talented. And I think that Virgil Ortiz is very talented. And both of those guys are going to be champions someday. It's just a matter of time.
Now, this one is coming from someone in my hometown area. They're going to be putting on, from the Fresno County Public Safety Association, they're going to be putting on an event soon near a casino. I might have let it out the bag a little too soon. officer against officer, and they would love to have Showtime Shawn Porter as their guest of honor at
Oh
that
wow.
event.
Oh
And
wow.
that'll
Where's
be
that at?
sometime in the future, in the summertime, in the Fresno area,
Okay.
Fresno, California
Okay.
area.
Yeah. You know how to get in touch with me, and those are your fans writing those questions. So it,
Absolutely.
what I do is if there's any way I can make something happen, and definitely when it's noted and I got it right there in front of me, I do the best I can. I'm definitely not gonna promise anything. I normally don't make promises, but it sounds like something that will be very fun and something that it sounds like it's down my lane. You know what I mean? I'm all about just showing up and putting a smile on everyone's face. So if it's possible, man, let's stay in touch with that. And let's say hypothetically I figured out that I got something going on, or family situation, anything going on, man, I'll still try the best I can to extend myself to that program. Officer against officer is pretty cool. So
Absolutely.
we can definitely send some memorabilia and all that and all those kinds of things. But I'd rather try to at least see that I can, if I can or cannot make it first.
Appreciate that. And I'm sure they do too. And that's something to look forward to. This is coming from WBA super flyweight champion, Mr. Joshua Franco, the professor. He said, really not a question. Richard, just please ask him and tell him I said, what's up?
What's up? Who is that?
Joshua Franco, WBA super featherweight champion of the world.
Okay.
He beat Andrew Maloney on Top Rank Boxing. And then the second one, there was a controversial headbutt that some say took place, some didn't, and now they're working on a trilogy. Yes, yes,
Okay.
a young
From
dog.
the Garcia
Yeah.
stable.
Yeah.
Yes, it has a brother named Bam Rodriguez, who is just one phone call away from becoming a world champion as
World
well.
champion himself,
Mhm.
exactly.
What's up, Josh? Good to hear from you, my man. Keep doing what you do. Don't get down over what just happened to you, man. Get back in the ring and do it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, this is coming from a legendary name, a son of a legend, Hector Macho Camacho Jr. What's the pro and cons working with your father?
The pros of working with my dad is it's almost like he knows how I feel and what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? He knows me like the back of his hand, so he knows where to push. He knows where the limit is. Things like that. Things that you can't really teach somebody else, or you can't teach a coach. For a coach, I think it would take a coach some time before he figures out, like, okay, I let Shawn off the hook right there. Some more people would just say, hey, you've done enough. But my dad would know, like, okay, yeah, you're getting let off the hook, and I'm not going to do it today. Well, maybe we'll do that this weekend, but today you're going that extra mile. Today you're doing that extra work. So my dad just knows me in and out, and I think that's the probably the biggest advantage to having your dad or a family member as a coach. I think the cons are the it's hard for your dad or family member to really be able to unconsciously acknowledge who you are. And my dad, we didn't really argue about this, but we had two different viewpoints, and he said, I'm not going to disagree. I agree, but not fully. But what I said to my dad is, hey, you've seen me grow up, and at some capacity your mind cannot see that I'm 33. Your mind will always see that I'm the young kid that needs you and needs your help, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of times you unconsciously revert back to speaking to me like I am that kid, or you revert back to not giving me the information like I am that kid, so on and so forth. So I think a lot of times it's hard for the older gentleman and or even lady in that situation to recognize who they're dealing with, understanding that it's not the same person. It's the same name, the same face. The face is a little different, the teeth are a little bigger now, the muscles are a little bit bigger now. You're dealing with the same person, but it's a different version of that person. And I think that's a tough separation for a lot of father and son duels. Is normally what it is. It's a tough separation for them.
Yeah, Hector shared with us when we had him on the show what his pros and cons were, and he shared it publicly with the world. And I won't get too much in depth with it, but I will say Hector got a big event coming up June 19th against a boxing legend, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. in an exhibition.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so hey, you know what?
I heard he was
Got to
coming
get
back.
yeah. Well, you got to get him on your show before that happens,
Mhm.
Sean. You got to see what you can do. Camacho Jr.
Oh, Junior.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were talking about senior. I'm like, I don't know how
How's
that's
your
gonna work.
Spanish, my man?
Yeah, my Spanish ain't that tight.
Well, if you can make him laugh, if you can make Chavez laugh, then it's a great interview.
It's a great interview. It's a perfect interview right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you got to do is make him laugh.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll see if I can grab Junior for that.
There you go.
Are they doing that on the trailer? Where they doing that at?
No, it'll be down in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
believe he's
exactly.
coming back. Is he in his what is he in his 70s?
Senior?
He's young enough to keep fighting.
Right? That's it. That's who's coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
senior.
Julio Cesar Chavez Senior. Yeah,
Well,
it's an exhibition.
Yeah, so Junior will also be on the card. He'll be fighting, I believe, Anderson Silva. And then we have Omar on the card as well. He'll be fighting Canelo's brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're making something out of this, man.
Oh yeah. And speaking of making something, we're going to talk about a certain someone who's also a trainer who'll be making that step too. But real quick, in 5 seconds, any update with Jalisco Madera?
Nothing
not
right
in the
now.
ring yet.
Yeah, Brooks Rivera's fighting right
Okay.
now, so that's what's on right now.
Okay, this is coming in from, I like to call him boxing expert, and that's ESPN's own Mark Kriegel. Question right here: is Crawford his mandatory right? With a question mark.
Yeah, I think that Mark knows the business and knows how it works. I have not been able to nail down the other side of my business partner, my business team to really figure that all out definitively. So yeah, I am technically the mandatory. Funny because I'm gonna go ahead and name drop Timothy Bradley. I said it, Tim. He we've had conversations about that fight in the past, and he just texted me the other day and said Crawford needs a dance
Desert Storm.
partner. And I was thinking to myself, I thought he was about to make an announcement most recently, and I don't know what's going on with that. So I got a feeling Bob's doing the best he can to avoid me.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different segment. We're going to talk about that before we, in the fourth quarter of this show, and we're going to answer as clear as we can.
What quarter we in?
We're approaching halftime, my man.
Almost halftime. Halftime.
Almost a 2-minute warning.
All right.
Here you go. From 4-division world champion, Mr. Mikey Garcia. Will he accept a fight? This just came in with my boy, Josecito Lopez next. And as always, wish Sean and his dad my best.
Hey, you know what's crazy is when I heard, will he accept the fight? In my mind, I was like, with me, and I was like, he's not going to say with me. He's going to say, oh,
you saw Sean already saying, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
That's the way it came in too. Kind of threw me over on the edge too. But I guess when you're just making the money that Mikey's making, Eric, you can just do whatever you want, so to speak. I mean, very humble, loves his cars. Ask his brother Robert about the ride that he got. I don't know if you got to see that on social media, Sean. Oh my gosh.
We'll
send that to you.
Well, he gave Robert a ride in the car, and basically he was just going to show him some kind of torque that it had. But I'm gonna send you the link, and it was more than just a torque, and it was more than just a conversation they had in the car. It was a good time.
We talked once about me coming out to his track and possibly driving on his track. I need to hit him up and see if we can make that happen.
Hey, when you make that
alone, the whole Garcia family, leave me alone.
Even the OG will come at you. I mean, the man's like the Godfather, literally. We went down to Robert Garcia's academy, man. And he had his own area blocked off completely. Which is hey, 6 feet away, but he was there. He was there, still shot calling.
Yep.
Hey, but Richie, if you're noticing all these questions and all these comments from all these
fighters
and whatnot, they're all saying the same thing. My respects to Sean and his dad.
Exactly.
My respect to Sean and his dad. And that says a lot. That says a lot right there.
We've been able to do something special with this game. Obviously Mikey's been able to do it with his family, and I mean they have something very special out there with their lineage and ties to boxing. But it goes beyond that because you see Mikey's an excellent human being. He takes care of home. He's able to have fun, and he's respectable, and gets tons of respect from everyone as well. So it's really is just a testament to where we come from. And from us both to come from two different places in the country, and be able to be who we are and be this to the world is really is amazing. It's a testament to humanity. You know what I mean? And I think that other people should take notice of it. I'm not saying that we're the best, but we're exceptional examples. And I think that people should really just appreciate it, and learn a thing or two from us.
Very well said. I will say this. I mean, Mikey's did good for himself in his career. Very good for himself. And yet, when you bring up, his father and how it all began, he gets very emotional. I mean, because he remembers, he knows what it took to get exactly where he's at, in the sacrifice from his father, from coming from the strawberry fields, still in his work clothes, going to the gym, believing in the vision that he had for his kids. And now Mikey is living proof, as well as Robert, that those dreams have come to pass, and then some.
Yeah, and that's really, to me, it seems to be the same thing that my dad and I have done, where we've really just kind of held on to what we wanted out of life. And as we started to achieve those things and get those things, it's like we held on to who we were in life. And it's like, once you get to what you want and it's like they gotta mesh. If they don't mesh, then you got to start figuring out what you need to delete. You know what I mean? And I think that again, Mikey and his family have done a terrific job, and I'm very proud of Mikey and his family as well, man, because to be able to see those guys at fights and see how knowledgeable Robert is that's pretty cool. And then to see Mikey be able to go in there and do what he's done for a number of years now is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and actually, you're going to see him May 1st. I believe Mikey's doing some commentating, the Spanish version
nice.
of the fight. So,
nice.
The Andy Ruiz and Chris Arreola fight.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Yes,
cool.
yes. Now,
I'm gonna make a fight.
A proposal right there, only on the fighter's voice. Make that proposal, put it together.
Yeah, and Mikey, tell me what I got to do to get you in the ring. Dude, that's what you do. Just text me and tell me what I got to do to get you in the ring.
Because I already know what he's gonna say. Pass Josecito first.
Yeah. Because if coming up behind you and put you in a headlock's not gonna do it, then let me know now, so I don't have to waste my time May 1st.
I'll tell you what, you can get him close. Have him on the podcast and ask him directly.
There you go.
What is there?
Now you're just giving up all the strategy.
Oh, okay. My bad. I mean, two good minds think the same.
I appreciate that, but now he knows it's coming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now he knows it's coming. Whatever it takes,
if I
right?
text him right now and say, "Hey, Mikey, would you come on my podcast?" He probably bust out laughing.
He said, "You want to read my gloves?"
Yeah.
My car keys. I'll bring my car keys. I'll give you a ride. I got to show you that link first. And when he gave Robert a ride, you may not want to meet him on the track after that.
Okay. No, I love driving. I love driving fast, but I know I'm no match for Mikey.
Richie, you're gonna give up Mikey's strategy.
Oh, okay, man. I'm gonna be welcome. No, I can't do that. Talking about showing respect. Two-time junior middleweight champion, boxing legend Fernando Vargas. He said, "I want to thank Shawn's dad, Kenny, for the great advice he gave myself and the boys, and how to make this father and son sport work, and where we're able to have the strongest team with both me and all my kids." He said, "I want to thank him, and Shawn's a great guy."
Yeah, I'm gonna text him right now. They've done a great job as well, and I was just telling this to somebody the other day, but I'll go ahead and say it now for anybody that's listening, and hopefully they catch wind of this. But here's the thing, for those of you out there, anybody who's married, you get married, but you don't get married when you stop working on your problems, or you stop working on your relationship, making it better. Even if you have a great relationship, you're always working to make the relationship better. And that's even for people who have a great relationship. Now imagine if you do have some bumps and some bruises here and there. It's a day-to-day process trying to make that work. That's a relationship. Just because you're a boxer and a coach, that's a relationship. So you guys always got to be working to keep that relationship right, to keep it tight, so that when you get in the ring, everything works out. So that when you go to the gym, everything's moving the way that it's supposed to move. And so when you have a situation where you got father and son that's also coach and athlete, now you got to work extra harder because there's always something else. The funny thing is that you and I'll just kind of speak on my life, and this is an example, so it's not really my life, but there'll be a day you're at the gym and your hands are down, and your dad's yelling at you to get your hands up. Your coach is yelling at you to get your hands up. You may not want to, you may do it or you may not. But then guess what? When you go home, the homework's got to be done. Your dad is telling you got to do your homework. That's also your coach, because guess what? He's coaching you through life. So any dad out there that does not coach their son in any sport at all, guess what? You still your son's life coach, because you got to help them with their homework. You got to help them learn how to clean clothes, learn how to clean the house, learn how to have a relationship if that's what you're doing with your son, and friendships and so on and so forth. We're all supposed to be working together, and a lot of times I think that either the dad loses track of that as being the coach, or the son loses track of that as being the athlete. But if y'all start to understand that it's a relationship, whether you like it or not, either way, if you say, you know what, dad, I don't even want you to coach me no more, I just want you to be my dad, can you send me to somebody else to coach me? Y'all find somebody else to coach you. He's still gonna be at home coaching you. He's still when you go to watch a fight, he's gonna walk past you in the living room and end up sitting down and watching the fight and coaching you. It's a part of life. You know what I mean? So get over it. get over all of these fathers and sons and how's it work and so on and so forth. Start making the relationship better, and what happens in the ring will benefit from it.
And that says a lot too, because there is a lot of father son teams that have been out that didn't work, and publicly you saw that fall apart. Then you have the few that you can sit there and say that's a team, that's a perfect team. Example, you and your dad, Gabe Senior, Gabe Junior, the Garcias. You have those families that everybody looks at and says, perfect. This is ideal. But again, without dropping names, you do have those families that unfortunately you saw that break apart. You saw that tear down their son in the ring, and saw their whole career just basically just keep going down. Because of that. So, again, I think that's why so many people thank you guys and look up to you guys and have so much respect, because again, ideally those, the father-son teams is what a lot of people look up to, especially, being in the amateurs and whatnot. So, Fernando's been doing an amazing job with his boys.
Absolutely.
You've seen what the boys have been doing. I mean, amazing from the amateurs to what they got going on right now. And, I think Fernando has been very blessed to be able to have both mindsets of, he's already taken care of the father part, because look at how the boys turned out now. Now he's kind of going into that coaching mode, but yet he's still backing off enough to say, well, I'm still your dad. So I'm still gonna tell you this about that situation. But by the way, your hook was kind of low, type deal.
I noticed something about them the last time I was around them, and I was just very proud to see the way that they were moving. They move a little different from myself and my dad, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to see the way what I could see was that Fernando has taken his experiences and he's done exactly what he's supposed to do, which is pour them into his boys. He has been very transparent with this boxing game, and he looks like he's there to help. And I think a lot of times fathers and they forget that it's their job to help, not just their job to lead, but it's also their job to help. And I could see that Senior, he's got a relatively a good understanding that he can't just lead, he's also got to help. And that's special, because he's young and he's early at being a pro. Junior is, what is he, 3-0 now, I think he is. So he's young and early in his career. That was something that I didn't realize I lacked from my dad, but that was something that we've started to work on now or later on in my career. But having someone there not just to lead you but also to help you is great.
Exactly, and I do also want to include Danny Garcia and his father, and as well as Teofimo Lopez and his father. I like that one because they share the same energy. They really do, whether it's the dance floor interviews or what have you. And iron sharpens iron in that house. I'm telling you right off the bat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, big time. This question just came in right here, so I'm going to bump this one ahead. This is from Bernardo Osuna from ESPN.
What's up, Bernardo?
How close is the Crawford fight happening? What is the real holdup for making this fight? Thoughts on the YouTubers outselling the current stars of boxing today?
That was one of my questions.
Yeah, just no thoughts on the YouTubers outselling the best boxers in the world today. You know, it's the way that this world is moving, and unfortunately boxing is behind the times and everything, you know. So where fighters are just now, you know, really starting to use that social media platform the way that we can. You have just is what it is. You have YouTubers and other people out there who have been playing games on YouTube since they were 11 years old, and now they're old enough to do some other things, and they want to explore those things. And one of those things just happens to be boxing. So it is what it is. They're taking the same audience that they've had for 10 plus years, and they're applying it to our sport. I don't take it personal. To a degree, I don't really appreciate it, but I understand it. I understand that it's the way of the world. The world wants to see people. You know, I'm not gonna say all that, but you know, the world just wants to see those guys do their thing. You know, and the world doesn't really understand boxing at its highest level. The world understands what they're watching. What they're watching is somebody that I just been watching for the last 10 years play a game that I love. And then they started doing funny stuff that I love. And now I'm going to watch them do a sport. A lot of these people aren't even into boxing, but they know what a fight is. And so because they get to watch a fight, they get to watch somebody they've been watching for years fight, they're going to do it. And these guys are benefiting from it and getting money from it. It is what it is. You know, I think it's the wrong energy to be mad about it, because I'll be mad and that guy's still going to get paid at the end of the night. So what is it to me to be mad about?
I don't remember where I heard it from, but somebody said, I got to remember how they said it, but basically they said, you know, a lot of these one-time fans are just coming to watch a concert, and they're going to have boxing on the side. Shawn, I see you're reacting to what Bruce.
It's been bad. This Bucky dude won't believe it.
Two times. Yeah. 2 times that's happened. So Brooks and Rivera, what are they in? I think they're in the last rounds right now, 6-6.
Yeah, it's the last round. He should just get up and finish the fight.
That's it. That's all he needs to do. So it's been two low blows.
I think this is 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, this is 3, and Burley might even get disqualified.
It's not. I know they already took the point, but
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're discussing the fight that's taking place on FX1 right now as we speak. It's getting ready to end. Are we in the last round, Shawn?
Yeah, this is the 6th round. There's 47 seconds left. FS1 PBC. We got Burley Brooks against this Rivera kid. Yeah.
Rivera had Brooks on the ground a minute ago. So, but I mean, going back to what we were saying about the whole YouTube thing, like they said, you know, you got all these youngsters coming in and looking at the sport just to watch their favorite YouTuber. Mm-hmm. They're just watching it for the concert, and there just so happens to be a fight going on the side.
And guess what? Like I'm sorry to cut you off, but Triller's just you can't beat it. Like you bringing in Snoop Dogg, like who doesn't want to see Snoop Dogg? You know, it's like they're covering all of their bases. The bases are loaded, and then these guys come out and it's an automatic home run. It's an automatic grand slam. It's a walk off. Yeah. It's a walk off. It's automatic. It's gonna happen. You know, so why be mad? If anything, maybe try to get with it.
Look, I've been asked to work 2 cards already. I've already said no to both of them. But I'm not gonna lie. I like watching it. I like seeing what it's all about. I get it. Exactly. I get it too.
And there's gonna be people.
It's entertainment.
I'm not mad at you, Eric. Like there's gonna be people that are gonna hold on to their guns. This is not real boxing. I can't support it. And exactly. I get that. But for me to be mad about it, I'm not gonna be mad about it. I'm just gonna
Right.
do the best I can to tell those people like, hey, you watch some entertainment, but there's a little bit more art than that. And
Yeah.
if you want to see the art, let's go to Showtime. If you want to see the art, turn on the FS1 or Fox. Later on in the week. Next week
There you
Fox is
go.
gonna. That the best thing you can do is just try to pub what's real on what's not as real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very
And,
well said.
yeah, and somebody came at me and they said, "Why don't you want to work the card?" I said, "Because I'm too busy concentrating on the Sean Porter Crawford fight.
Yeah.
I want to see what's happening."
And exactly. And when you talked about the Showtime and the Fox Sports, you forgot to include and also the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show, where you have guests such as two-time welterweight champion of the world, Mr. Sean Porter. Now, exactly. And also the Porter way. And also the Porter way. Because there's only one way, and it's the Porter way. How's that sound?
Here you go. I like it.
I gotta say, man, I watch your podcast. I watch it. I laugh every time, man. You guys be
Very good.
just the way you guys come out with things and
We have fun, man.
You gotta have
unfiltered
fun,
and
man.
everything.
You gotta have fun. You
We
gotta have fun,
man. Our format is working for us, and we're gonna keep doing it. So
Hey, you do what you love. You never work a day in your life.
yeah.
Now, in a recent interview I had with Robert Garcia, I asked the question in the proposal that was there, and I want your feedback on this. And I know Hector, we talked about Hector Macho Camacho Jr. He has a date that's already established, June 19th, but he hasn't ruled out the fact that he's more than willing to share the ring in an exhibition with Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy's own Mr. Robert Garcia. What's your take on Robert Garcia after 20 years has not laced up the gloves as a professional to take on Hector Macho Camacho Jr. in an exhibition? What's your take on that?
From what I remember from Camacho Jr., he was fast. He was slick. He had some moves. From what I remember, I don't think he, once he got to a certain level, he couldn't take a punch very well. But I don't I don't know how much younger he is than Robert, but I don't know. I think I don't know. I think that Robert being behind or in the corner as long as he has been, I think that is just kind of who he's grown into. I think he's grown out of being a fighter, and that's possible. You can grow into some things and grow out of other things, even though you've been doing them your whole life. So I got a feeling that he's probably grown out of being a fighter, and it will be hard for him to get to a level to be able to fight, the way that Hector Camacho is expecting him to, if he's expecting him to actually fight.
Well, I will say this. He dropped about 20 pounds, very agile. And he said, Richard, if it's for the right reasons, exhibition only, not a fight, I am more than willing and waiting for that phone call.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It'd be interesting.
And I think a lot of times when you got an exhibition, it's all about what's agreed upon before the fight.
Yes, exactly.
Because we may have our interpretation of what a
exactly
exhibition is, and then we may get Robert Garcia saying, hey, put in the contract that we're wearing 14-ounce gloves, you know what I mean? Or, putting it in the contract that we're wearing hair gears with the bars,
there you go,
something like that, so we'll see, man. If he feels like he could do it, I think that I know that I would tune in because I like to see him move. I've never watched any of his fights, and maybe that's something that I should do, instead of maybe even wanting to see him fight in the actual in the exhibition, is just really take a look at who he is and what he used to do, because then I could really give you a better understanding of what we could see.
You know what? Very well said. Before you wrap this up, I got to ask you this, man. If you can't get Mikey Garcia in the ring, what do you think Mikey has planned? Is there something in the works? I mean, what have you heard? Mikey's staying in shape, and I will say,
you're making on Mikey. I know where you're waiting.
And I will say this:
you're smart. You're doing the right things. You know that.
I took a trip down to Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy, and I went out on a limb and I said, Mikey, you look better today than you even did preparing yourself for Errol Spence. I mean, the weight of 147 is starting to really He's holding it very
Very
well.
good.
I mean, the
Very good.
biceps are there. He
Yeah.
almost got the Sean Porter back. I mean, it was ripped, but it wasn't quite that
Yeah.
deep. But
Yeah.
Mike's in tremendous shape at
Yeah.
147. What do you think
See,
he's looking to do?
Well, see, let me say this. When he moved up to 147 to take on Errol Spence Jr., it was a prime time for him. But um, scientifically and mathematically, it would have made sense for him to move up to 147 and become a 147-pound fighter before getting in the ring with Errol Spence Jr. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between being at a certain weight and then being able to perform at that weight. So, just for instance, I walk around at 160. There's a difference between me walking around at 160 and then preparing my body to fight at 160.
Yes.
And I think that may have been what he did. I think he may have been walking around maybe around 140 to 147 and decides, hey, this is the guy. I got the skills. I can do it. I'm gonna do it. And I think that was the step that, again, it's prime time. So it was like he didn't have much time to really get it together anyway. But hindsight says, or things that I knew, is that you should get on a strength program, build your body up, not so that you can walk around at 160 and break down to 147, but so that your body is a full 147-pound fighter, and you may actually get up to 155, whereas before you were walking around maybe 147. So that I think was really what stalled him in that fight, was that he wasn't or isn't a natural 147. So to him working and looking as such is great, because that's what he's supposed to do. I don't know what he's got planned. To hear you say him walking around the way he's looking right now sounds like he might have something in the works. My guess is that he's waiting on what a lot of us are crossing our fingers for, which is that big Filipino fight over there.
Sean Gibbons, if you're watching, Viva Sean, let's make it happen. Give one of these combatants the opportunity, the privilege, and the honor to share the ring with the fighting senator himself, and let the two fighters do the rest.
That would be amazing.
It would be. It would be. Now, before we leave, there has to be something for you, Sean, something to get off your chest, something you've been thinking about. This is the platform. This is the time right now. It doesn't have to be about boxing. It could be about those chocolate chip cookies that you're craving. It could be about the Cleveland Browns. You know, hey, are they going to get that blindsided guard for my quarterback? Whatever it is, this is the time in the show when it belongs to you.
You know what? I didn't have anything, but just as you were talking, I'm thinking, because I'm like, all right, when he's done talking, I got to respond. But I mean, I think if anything, everybody keeps saying, when are we going to see Sean in the ring?
Exactly.
He's doing a lot of commentary and he's doing a lot of TV, but we want to see him in the ring. And what I can want to tell everybody, is that I love my life. I love what I'm doing. I am taking care of myself. I got sparring equipment right here. I'm prepared to go train tomorrow. So I am doing what I need to do in the meantime. But in the meantime, just relax. Understand that I enjoy what I do, and I love it, and I'm gonna continue to do it. It has not con- completely taken the position of boxing, that or the competition side of boxing, that I still hold. You know, I'm still looking forward to getting in the ring, but you can't rush it. No disrespect to Josecito Lopez, but that's not really the type of fighter that I have in my mind. I think that I'm deserving of the biggest fights that could be made for me, which are, for me, in my mind, is the Terrence Crawford fight. There's other fights out there, rematch with Errol Spence Jr., rematch with Keith Thurman, and then there's the Manny Pacquiao fight, of course. I don't really think of Mikey too often, and I've actually said before that I never saw myself fighting him, but I think that that's a fight that I definitely would consider. If that was something that he was considering, I'm not going to pressure this dude at all. If Mikey says, "No, I don't want to fight you," or "No, not right now," or anything like that, I'm not going to pressure him, because he's never really been somebody really in my sights. But
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford has been in my sights now for maybe about a year, a little more than a year, since the fight I had with Errol Spence Jr. And then you got Spence Jr. and you got Thurman. You know, I think that those are the biggest fights that could be made. And again, no disrespect to anybody else, but those are the fights that I'm interested in. Fights that command a lot of money and a lot of talk. Fights that where you just don't know. It's a 50-50 fight. I think before I fought Errol Spence Jr., it was, you know, everybody thought that I wouldn't win the fight. I think if we were to rematch tomorrow, I think that fight would be much more 50-50 than before, you know. So while you see me doing TV and things like that, I am still taking care of myself and still keeping my mind in the fight, ready to fight. But I'm not gonna rush it just to make a buck. And that's just not who I am, and that's not who I am now, you know, and I don't think that's who I've ever been, you know. So just relax, and I'll be all right. And when I get back in the ring, it's showtime.
Exactly.
I've never presented you guys anything less. And I think it's fair for you guys to always know that I'm gonna be showtime no matter what.
That's right. That's right. And all the way to the very end.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
yeah, exactly. And you could expect that right now. Eric, in 10 seconds, what you got for us, man?
You know what? I just want to jump back to the whole YouTube podcaster fighters things again.
Yeah,
you know what? I get hit up all the time. Look, everybody always hits me up on my Instagram, dogboxer.eric. My opinions, my you know, what do you got going on with this? Look, I don't agree with it. I don't like it, but I'm not going to hate on it. But I will say this. It's going to be one of those things that we're going to keep seeing for now. And in the meantime that we do see it, I think we should just enjoy what we can. But the reality of it is boxing's coming back. Boxing will be back soon. We're going to start seeing a lot of these fights that we all want to see. Patience is growing on everybody. But, you know, aside from that, you know, I do want to, you know, give a lot of respect and a lot of thank yous to Shawn and his dad for being able to set
Absolutely.
what they've done and everything for the sport and whatnot.
Raise the bar.
Yeah, we're definitely raised the bar and definitely looking forward to you being back in the ring.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank our guest, Mr. Showtime Shawn Porter. Please stick around until you hear the drop of the closing show. And those of you that are tuning in, tomorrow we got with us former heavyweight champion of the world, Mr. Andy Ruiz Jr., who I got a personal message to pass on to him as well. And then Thursday, we got Mr. Rigaroo, Regis Prograis, is going to be on the show Thursday. Next Tuesday, we got Mr. Semper Fi Herring, Jamal Herring. And as we speak, Jose Ramirez, who I didn't get to talk about his upcoming fight with Mr. Josh Taylor, will be on that Thursday. And I got a soft confirmation with Josh Taylor the week after. Oops, I'm sorry. Did that slip out? I'm sorry about that one. Sorry about that one. He'll be in the States and Las Vegas in the month of May. Shawn, it's always a pleasure, man. And, you know, your choice of words that you've given to me personally, I know now deep down where it's rooted. And that's the root itself from your father and your mother. They've done a great job. Sir. And, you know, whenever I announce that you're going to be on the show, I mean, these questions just come in. Like I said, I apologize that I couldn't get to all of them. And I'm sorry it turned into a questionnaire, Shawn. I mean, but no, I wanted, I wanted to.
That's when we came on. I was like, "What were we doing?" Because I don't. You know, he texted me. He texted and said, "Hey, are we still on for Thursday?" And that was on like Sunday or Monday. I was like, "Were we ever really on?" I don't remember saying we were on Thursday. You know, but I'm just gonna roll with it, man. Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, I just confirmation before I post, big guy. You know what I mean? I just got to make sure. But no, Shawn, I mean, no, you really, when you reached out, I appreciate that. It goes a long way, man. Remember, every fighter has a voice, and so do you. It's a wrap. Enough said. Thumbs up for Richie.
Don't you dare touch that dial. Don't miss out. Now you can listen to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. For the hottest and latest in sports and entertainment, exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the sport of boxing and MMA. New show, new topics, new look, bringing you the latest news. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. The Fighter's Voice.